Well, I'm glad Mr. Obama has a new job as Joe Biden's press secretary. I note for the record that in his speech that I read, there was no mention of manufacturing, no mention of China. As far as I'm concerned, his administration was a kumbaya of incompetence in which we saw millions of manufacturing jobs go off to China. His new normal was a flat line in terms of wage growth. And I'm happy to report that this president, Donald J. Trump, in 3.5 years, built the most beautiful economy in modern history. And the Chinese did take that down in about 30 days, but we are in the process right now of rebuilding that. And this president, Donald J. Trump, is the one who has the skills to do so. Because you know what, George, what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the future here. Buy American, deregulate, and innovate. What do I mean by that? Bring the jobs home, make it here.
You say the Chinese took down the American economy. So you're saying they deliberately unleashed the COVID virus on the United States? Do you have any evidence for that?
I did not say they deliberately did it, but their China virus, let's go over the facts here. Correct me if I'm wrong. The virus was spawned in Wuhan province. Patient zero was in November. The Chinese, behind the shield of the World Health Organization, for 2 months hid the virus from the world and then sent hundreds of thousands of Chinese on aircraft to Milan, New York, and around the world to seed that. They could have kept it in Wuhan. Instead, it became a pandemic. So that's why I say the Chinese did that to Americans, and they are responsible. Now, George, one other thing that I think is unconscionable about the Chinese behavior. As we speak, they signed a trade deal on January 15th, and they promised not to steal our intellectual property. Big part of that deal. Guess what? The FBI has now issued warnings that the Chinese government is hacking the intellectual property so that they can steal vaccines for the world. And what would they do with it? It wouldn't be a benign experience. They'd use that vaccine to profiteer and hold the world hostage. So yes, I do blame the Chinese. And it'd be really interesting, George, as to how this election unfolds, because you've got Joe Biden, who's been a long friend of China, versus President Trump, who's the only president who's ever stood up to China.